Hello.
Hello!
And live we
Hello.
are. How
Here
are
we
you, Krystal?
are. I'm doing really well. Yes, how are you?
Good. I just feel very happy to have Krystal here. Krystal has been one of our first beautiful people that we met when we moved up to Scotland in March, and Krystal is a fantastic, beautiful being, but also a wonderful yoga teacher. So let's have a conversation about yoga.
Lovely.
Yes?
Yes, I'm here
So-
for it.
I'm curious to ask you, what do you think are the most important traits of a good yoga teacher?
You know, I feel like a lot of this comes down to the individual who is practicing the yoga, you know? There's so many different teachers out there with so many different styles, and a lot of it is about finding someone that you resonate with, you
Yeah.
know? For me personally, I really love when there's variations, because all bodies are different. We can't all get into the same shape, right? So having variation, I think, is really, really important. And yeah, finding someone that you resonate with, and someone that you resonate with for a period of time. Like that might just be for that period of time. You might then find someone else as you kind of embody the practice in a different way, or if you step up in your yoga practice, there might be other teachers out there that resonate more as your journey naturally evolves, you know?
I think that's a good point, because what works for one person may not work for another person.
Exactly.
I mean, the reason why I asked this question is also because I truly believe, and feel free to just share your comments. It doesn't matter if we are in the field of yoga, if we are in the field of health, or if we are in general helping people on their journey of consciousness or increased awareness. I believe authenticity is
Yes.
very, very crucial.
That's key.
And for me, authenticity means also vulnerability, because I can only speak for myself, having been on this journey for such a long time, and I still haven't figured it out. In fact, the more I know that I don't know anything. I know this sounds very cliche. Right?
Yeah, it's truth though.
So, what I find, which is really important when you are looking to find a yoga teacher that resonates with you, look for authenticity.
Yes, absolutely.
And what do I mean by that is that, yeah, you know, we may have a certain, authenticity, to me, I'm just sharing my thoughts here.
Of course,
it's like a complete free flow. Let's see where we go with this. For me, it is also, there's a danger or a sticky point with people, with teachers. I don't actually consider myself as a teacher. I'm just an eternal student in a way, but the danger is that people can get fanatic,
right.
and fanatism is very dangerous, I believe. If somebody comes to me and says, okay, I would like to have an Ayurvedic consultation, do a pulse analysis, look at their nutritional regime, and then I would say, oh, you should do this, or you can only do this. Oh my gosh, are you still eating that? Or you are not vegan, or you are vegetarian, or you carnivore. As soon as there comes fanatism into the picture, it's a slippery road. And I found that in recent years, in particular, with a lot of people on the journey. But now there are so many different approaches and so many different ways of yoga. Tell us a little bit about the approach that you use when you teach a yoga class, for example.
So, I mean, what I was talking earlier about, offering variation, I obviously think that's something really important, and just letting the students feel safe, like creating a safe environment where they can get into these different shapes, connect to their breath, and just allowing for the practice to unravel for them.
Yes.
I always tell the people that show up to my class, although I am here as your guide, this is your practice, so make it your own. If you need to make some adjustments, if you need to take a break or pause, if you need to just breathe, if you need to cry, whatever it may be, allow your expression to show, because it's not my practice here. This is to be shared with you, so this is for your best intentions.
And in this context also, there's a lot of misconception around yoga. Yoga, in a way, because I come from a very traditional approach, and my training has been in Vedic knowledge and Vedic science, and yoga has been one aspect of my journey. There's so many fashionable styles of yoga, but we are not going to go there. But what I wanted to share is a lot of people are afraid of yoga.
Yes.
They are afraid because they think they need to
be flexible.
Yes. Well, flexible in a sense like need to be able to put my foot behind my head and do headstands. And what is your comment on that?
That's actually one of the first things that people will say to me out of this maybe fear or apprehension into stepping into starting their own yoga practice. It's a common theme of, but I'm not flexible, so therefore I'm just cutting it off.
Yeah.
And to that, it's not all about the flexibility. That is something that will come with it. That so much of the yoga practice is what we take off the mat and how we are as a being, in the world, in the yoga practice on the mat, through moving our prana, channeling it in a certain way, through our breath, through mudras, through poses. This is allowing for softness and allowing for us to heal through the movement and to take that healing off the mat with us onto our day.
Yeah, and yoga is definitely not just about movement or not just about the poses. Or
they say that...
Like you said, it's the mindset, really.
Exactly. It's said in yoga that Shavasana is one of the most difficult poses. And so Shavasana is where you completely surrender, lying down on your back and giving yourself permission to soften and surrender into every part of the body. And it's not only the body, of course, it's the mind as well. Yeah. It's welcoming this quiet in the mind, because so much of us have got this chitter chatter, this monkey mind. It just goes from thought to thought. So Shavasana is actually seen as one of the more advanced poses, even though it seems like anyone can just lie down. But how many of us can actually lie down and fully let go and just be?
Absolutely. How did you happen to stumble across yoga? How did you get to where you are at this point in your life? You're very young, I could be your grandfather. No, not quite.
So that's a great question. My yoga journey started for me coming up for 7 years in February. And so prior to me starting yoga, about a year and a half before I started a yoga practice, I had been in a car accident just further along the road here. And from this car accident, I was left with lots of physical pain in my body, and I was living with what I chose to call chronic pain. So I was living with all of this pain, but I also had lots of mental health issues going on. And at the time, I went over to Australia, and if you want a second-year visa, you need to do 3 months farm work. And I wanted to do this farm work, but I knew that I had to heal. I knew that it was going to be very physical, challenging work, and something had to change, something had to shift. So I said to myself, right, I'm going to start a daily yoga practice. And it's been, almost 7 years later, and I really haven't missed a day. In some way, shape, or form, I've showed up every day. And I need to, it's my morning cup of coffee. It's that thing that I do in the morning that gets me up and goes. And otherwise, I just feel kind of... I feel it. I feel the tension, and I also feel the chitter chatter in my mind. So it's been consistent since then. So I started for the physical aspects of my body, and then my mental health improved tremendously. And not only that, but I remember feeling this little spark of magic inside that I'd not felt for years. And I was like, whoa, what was that? And it just felt so natural for me to continue.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's when we have the experience of transcending our physical boundaries and stepping into a field of expansiveness.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch upon, because when I did my yoga teacher training in India many years ago, because I come from an Ayurvedic background, what Krystal was basically referring to earlier was that there are different styles for different people.
Yeah.
So according to Ayurveda, there are the three constitutional types of Vata, Pitta and Kapha. So Vata is linked to the element of space and air, Pitta is fire, predominantly fire and water, and Kapha is earth and water. So because we are all different, for example, the Kapha constitution is basically characterized by a more stronger, denser body build, stronger muscular structure, stronger even bone structure. And Kapha people might not be as flexible as Vata people. However, Kapha people have a very strong endurance. So they can much easier, for example, attempt some much stronger Hatha yoga practices, for example. And then you look at the Pitta constitution. So Pitta is linked to fire. So if I think about Pitta yoga, is for me Ashtanga yoga. They're like very clear instructions, very precise.
It's a sequence. Yeah.
So where do I put my foot? How do I lift my sort of my pelvic floor muscle up, and how do I extend my spine? They want very clear instructions. But if you give those instructions to a Vata constitution, they run out of the class even before the class has started, because simply their mind is so busy and so occupied that they will find it difficult to stick to a prescriptive routine. Here's the other thing. Because Vata needs flexibility. Vata like to explore. They like to explore different yoga practices. And although it is beneficial to stick to one routine or stick to one rhythm, I don't like the word routine, stick to one practice for a while, if you feel like, just go and explore. Go and explore what works for you, you know?
Yes. And this can change day by day, or even from morning to night. Like you might have a different yoga practice from the morning than what you'd have at night. And you might also have more flexibility at night, but maybe more energy in the morning. So there's so many variable things depending on what sort of practice you might show up for. Yeah.
So for example, when you teach a class, Krystal, you give some instructions and you take people through a specific pose or movement sequence. And how do you deal with the fact that within a classroom there are Vata, Pitta and Kapha constitutional beings which all somehow have individual requirements? How do you bring this under one classroom, under one umbrella?
Yeah, I feel like that kind of does take me back a bit to just offering the variations and letting everybody in the class know that this is your practice. Make any adjustments or take any pose that you need to, you know? And so I advertise what my yoga class is about so people will know what they're signing up for, and they'll already, before they enter the class, they'll be in tune with what style and what kind of class it is as well.
And what would you sort of, as a takeaway, because it's very important, we know we have this conversation, but the reality is that there's some little goodies that we want to give away to our audience, to my audience. Thank you so much for joining. So what would be a giveaway that you can give to the audience in terms of your yoga practice? Something that is tangible, something that can be incorporated easily into daily rhythm, for example.
So like providing them tools that they can go and take
For
away,
example,
or something more?
Yeah, right now. I know we are sitting here at the table. We are not on the yoga mat, but let's sort of think outside the box. What are the tools, or one tool we can sort of share? What do you think?
Yeah, well, you know, the first thing that really comes to my mind is the power of our breath. Yes. Consciously breathing, connecting to our prana, our life force energy. Because for as long as all of us are alive, we're all breathing. We can all connect to our breath, and this is something that we can come to and use for so many things, whether it be to energize ourselves or to unwind, help us relax, whether it be to help us, clear the chitter chatter in the mind, whatever it might be. We all have access to this tool for as long as we're alive. So I think it's even just giving people just that gentle reminder, because we forget about it.
So what do you mean by conscious breathing? What is the practice? Just give us a technique. I like techniques.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it can be as simple as, finding a comfortable seat of your choice, lifting up through the spine, because this is really going to allow for our breath to channel and flow with ease. Invitation to close the eyes, and this is going to help take our awareness within. Breathing in through the nose if you can. This works as our air filtration system. And breathing out through the nose or the mouth. And so just starting to tune in with the breath here. And start to make the exhales longer than the inhales. And so right here, we're not following a strict breathwork pattern. This is your breathwork. The invitation is to make the exhale longer than the inhale. And this is going to help to quiet down the nervous system, the thinking mind, and invite relaxation into the body.
It's wonderful. And it's so simple. Just focus your awareness, increase the exhalation, increase your out breath. And the reason is it's a physiological phenomena that switches in. As soon as your out breath is longer than your in breath, you go from fight and flight, from sympathetic mode to parasympathetic mode, to rest and digest. So just like that, and it's a switch. Wonderful. I'm just thinking also, I like working with mudras. So there's one mudra that I teach in my meditation classes. I run online meditation classes every Monday for the past 1.5 years, and we explore different mudras, different meditation practices, different breath works as well. So one mudra is basically bring the index of your right to the tip of the thumb of your right finger. And then you interlock with your left. The right is the divine masculine.
Lovely.
The left is the divine feminine. So you link the divine masculine with the divine feminine. And then you bring the tip of the middle ring and pinky together. So this is a mudra. For those who don't know what mudras are, it is just energy circuits. We just connect to the energy that naturally flows within our body, and we redirect the energy back into our physical body through the tips of our fingers. And this mudra is a particular powerful mudra to align the divine masculine with the divine feminine and the inner child.
Gorgeous.
So basically, it's healing. It provides the possibility of healing the wounds from our childhood by looking at connecting the masculine with the feminine, bringing it in alignment with the inner child.
Gorgeous. Such a
So I know you are planning to offer people some yoga over YouTube. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes. So I've been asked more and more by people if I'm going to be sharing some yoga online. I've spent some time traveling around the world, so I've got lots of connections overseas. And so people have been asking me, can I tune in with you? Can I practice with you? So right now I'm currently working on creating a 31-day self-love yoga journey, which I'm going to be posting every day in January. The videos are going to be from about 15 minutes to 30 minutes. And it's just about staying consistent with a practice. It's not a really long practice, but if you show up every day, you're going to feel that transformation.
And one of the biggest challenges is commitment to our journey.
Yeah,
and I always
discipline.
acknowledge every single person, even within our online circles. I run also, as you know, the monthly cacao circle, the meditation classes. And I'm going to start an Ayurveda workshop in January over 6 weeks. to dive deeper into the principles of Ayurveda. But I always say it's the best commitment that you can give is the commitment to show up and stay true to us, to yourself, stay true to your journey of growth and expansion. Because I believe, even though I come from a health background, if we focus on expansion, if we focus on growing our awareness and consciousness, healing will become a natural byproduct.
Exactly.
Because we can get lost in diagnosis of this disease or that disease, and as long as we focus on awareness, healing will become a natural byproduct.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also we are very excited because Krystal is in the neighborhood. We will have our first combo yoga and sound bath session this week on Thursday.
Yes.
You can join online, so it will be streamed online, and you can find the details in my bio, or I will add it at the end of the video chat, so you can get in online. But also we have a few tickets left for in-person around Aberdeenshire, here in Midmar, for those who are in the neighborhood. Would be lovely to see you. So I think see, the thing to sort of conclude it, I've come from many years of seeing how yoga has evolved, how even Ayurveda has evolved over time, and I believe sometimes less is more, because a lot of yoga practices, you go to the gym, you have got the beating, the heavy music running in the background. For me, I don't think it doesn't work for me. Please do what you feel is right for you to do. Because the challenge, as you said, is sit in the discomfort, sit in the stillness. And it's so difficult to sit in the stillness. Even last night I couldn't sleep. Usually when it is around full moon, we have a full moon today, full moon in Gemini, according to Western astrology. So I got up in the middle of the night and I tried to meditate. I was meditating, but I felt so restless, I couldn't sit still. But then taking that challenge, all right, I don't need to be quiet. I don't need to sit in a stiff position and sort of force myself to relax. Whatever you experience is right. So I guess what I'm trying to say is showing up, the commitment.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful introduction over 21, did you say 21 days?
31 days.
31 days, the entire January,
Yes.
to actually get into finding your own rhythm.
Yes.
Right. Now, let's see if there are any questions. I'm going to take this off the stand and see if there are any questions. And we are happy to answer the questions. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching over time. Any questions for me or for Krystal would be wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. No questions? Okay. And I think we just want to say bye-bye and see you shortly.
Yes, thank you.
Right, let's just